Hello everybody. I am going to show you how I am trying to set up using Rigify and Blender and then exporting to Unreal Engine and trying to generate a physics asset for that skeleton, which is coming out totally screwed up. And I have researched this issue, and even though I am following a series of steps that have been outlined and people claim work, it still doesn't work. So far I have not been able to find anybody on the internet that can show a video of actually rigging in Rigify, exporting from Blender into Unreal Engine, generating a physics asset, and having that go smoothly without using the Unreal Engine mannequin. So this is making my own character and then rigging it, importing it. So I'm just going to show you the naive case, which is going to fail first, so you can see what I'm talking about. But here we have a character in Rigify, in Blender, using a Rigify rig. He is already rigged. We have him in pose mode right now, just to kind of show you, the guy is rigged properly. I have animated this character, but I'm going to go ahead and export him without any animation, just for the sake of argument, so that I can kind of show what's going on here. So we're going to go ahead and go out into object mode. We're going to select the character mesh, and then we're going to select the rig only. We're going to go to File, Export, FBX. We are going to do selected objects only, mesh and armature, include custom properties. I don't think there's any, but just check that. We're going to do Y forward, Z up. Which is for Unreal Engine. Apply unit, use space transform, do not apply transform, geometry, we're going to change smoothing to call it faces. Apply modifiers, but there aren't any modifiers, so that shouldn't make a difference. Armature, make sure add leaf bones is unchecked. Bake animation, there's no animation, so we're not even going to bother right now. And I'm going to export this as zombie, and then I'm going to pop over to my Unreal project folder, and I'm going to export this like so. Now I'm going to pop over to my Unreal Engine project, where it should ask me, my other screen here, if I want to import. I say yes. I would like to import a skeletal mesh. I'd like to import the mesh. I'm going to generate a new skeleton off of this guy, just for the sake of argument. And everything else, I think, no animations to import anyway. Everything else, okay, right. Here I'm going to keep this 1, but this is a setting I was playing with before, and then I'm going to keep import rotation to 0. So we're just importing it the way it was, because theoretically it was set up correctly in Blender. Convert, all right, so that should be fine. Import all. Alright, and now we have our for physics, right, zombie animation for physics. Here's the skeleton. Okay, and it did generate a physics asset, but which, god damn it, because I think I have 2 physics assets right now, because I was using one for my previous one. So I'm actually, because I don't know which is which, and my project is kind of messed up right now, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these 2 physics meshes here. I'm going to open this skeleton, and we can see my zombie that came in over here. I'm just going to go ahead. Actually, it doesn't really matter. He has no skin right now, no material, but it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the skeleton. I'm going to create a, I'm going to go to the mesh. I'm going to go to the skeletal mesh. I'm going to create physics asset, create and assign. I'm going to use the default settings for the physics asset. Go ahead and create asset. Okay. Inside here, I have just one ball here, one mesh. And if I click simulate, it moves very slowly to topple over. All right, well that's fine. Not really, but we can work with that. Let's try to reduce the size of this capsule. Okay, and now if I hit simulate again, now he'll just drop on the ground. Sure, that makes sense. Let's try to add a capsule to his leg. Right, we want to select to see weighted bones, please. Left leg, right click, add shape, add capsule. Okay, well, what's this? This capsule that it added is really big. What's the problem here? But okay, let me see if I can shrink it down to size here. Okay, keeps going, and then I guess rotate it around a little bit. Okay, fair enough. Bring it down. Okay, what if I simulate that? Okay, well, I guess those aren't connected. Well, that's weird. They should be connected, shouldn't they? Okay, let's try deleting that physics asset once again. And we're going to try regenerating a new one. So maybe we can change the settings to get it to actually generate multiple bones. Create physics asset, create and assign. Let's try a minimum bone size of 5. Dominant weight, auto orient, walk past small bones. Yeah. Alright, I guess we try that. Create. Oh hey, what do you know? Now, it made more boxes, but you see it still is not big enough. Oh, and then we drop this thing, and what is this? That's fucked up. We click simulate, and boom, we immediately see this whole thing becomes detached. I guess because his head, I mean, I don't know, it looks like it's just turning that into one mesh there. If I were to move this, would it change anything? No, it wouldn't. It's totally fucked up. And then, right, so what? This is not ragdoll physics. What is this? So, okay. So here's a Blender issue that basically goes into this. And then there was actually another Unreal Engine post that describes a similar issue. Okay, right. So Blender to UE4 scale and rigging issues. This is an item posted in the forums, and he's basically talking about the same issue that I am, although the symptoms are a little bit different. And this chronic dev guy seems to have some good information, and he provides a link to another area here which has a guide, which is very useful, and it has a variety of settings that it recommends for exporting from Blender as then importing into UE4, and it has this epic scale workaround where it basically says make the mesh and armature 100 times bigger in Blender, export from Blender as usual. When importing into UE4, set import uniform scale to 0.01. This seems to solve the issue because the mesh gets scaled down to the correct size while the physics asset is not affected by the import uniform scale setting. Okay, fine. So then I kept looking around, and I also found this other post on Blender's support forums. And again, I'm not getting this bones being too small to create an Unreal Physics asset, but I believe it is the same issue that both this epic scale workaround and this is explaining. And I believe that the process outlined here is essentially the same process outlined here. So I'm going to try to follow that process and see if it makes a difference. And I have already done this because I've been trying to solve this issue so I can add ragdoll physics to my very preliminary game, but nothing seems to work. So let's go back into Blender. Actually, you know what, let's just, in Unreal Engine, go ahead and delete the things that we just imported because I want to do it fresh. Force delete, all right, fine. Now we go back into Blender, and let's follow this guide. So number 1, export, well, actually, yeah, these are kind of how to do it wrong. UE4 should return with error, same bones, yeah, fine, okay. So now it says in Blender, scale the mesh and the rig to times 100. Okay, so mesh and rig. I mean, here's the mesh. And actually, by the way, do I have any animation playing on this guy? Because I should have a T-pose, which should have no actual animation on it. Let's see. I think I'm all right. You never know with Blender. All right, so no animation. We got our dude. Here's his scale factor. This is the mesh. It is a child of the Rigify rig, a child of the armature, and the instructions are saying scale them both to 100. So, all right, let's try that. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to scale this to 100. Now, immediately, the first problem is that it's too big for Blender. Also, you see what's going on with these arms? So, like, it looks fucked up in Blender, but all right, I'll go with it for now. We go to the rig, scale it up by 100. Okay, and now, I mean, it's even bigger, like 100 times bigger, and if we want to see it, we can go to view and then end like, I don't know, 5,000 or something. Will not do it. Yeah, all right, so you can kind of see 10,000. See, because it's too big to fit in Blender with like the default settings, so you have to like enable a bigger view, and it's all fucked up, but whatever. All right, fine. Then it says apply the scale to both. Okay, so you know, here we'll go Control A, scale, and on the rig, Control A, scale. Okay. I mean, did it just make it even bigger? I can't see shit in Blender, but I'm going to assume that scale was applied okay, even though, well, now it says 1 because I applied it. So then it says, okay, scale the mesh and the rig to 0.01. All right, so I'm going to go 0.01, 0.01, 0.01, so on the mesh, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing on the rig. 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. All right, now where even is our rig at this point? Do we see anything? Yeah, okay, I'm going to like zoom in. There's probably a quick key for this. What the fuck did I do to my scale? Yeah, because there's my armature. I mean, it says it's being applied uniformly, but it doesn't look like it, but that's okay. Supposedly, it might look fucked up in Blender. It might work okay in Unreal Engine. So now it says apply the scale that I just applied, the 0.01. Apply the scale. Yeah, I mean, I'm reading from this, by the way, you know, this list here, exact steps to reproduce the error. Apply scale to just mesh. And fine, so we'll do that. This is the mesh. We're going to apply the scale to that. Okay, now that's 1, and this rig is still 0.01. All right. Delete the previous FBX import from UE4, export FBX with same settings as before, and then import with same settings. Okay, fine. So we're going to go File, actually make sure both we're in object mode, make sure this and this are selected. Go ahead and export FBX. We're going to call this zombie animation for physics. We're in the right folder. We've got all of the previous settings that we had selected before. So go ahead. All right, great. Now, go back to Unreal Engine, import, oh, come on, zombie animations for physics. Okay, well now it wants to come up. So we're going to generate a new skeleton, skeletal mesh, import mesh, geometry and skinny weights. Yeah, okay, fine. It will, well, it shouldn't generate a physics asset because I don't have that checked, and I'm going to do that manually anyway. But I'm going to import all, and I'm going to open up my mesh just to check this guy out and find, I don't know, where is he? Can I see top? Can I see left? Can I see front? No, none of them. I don't know where this guy is. Maybe he's too big. I mean, here, where's my physics? Yeah. Oh wait, no, he's in. He's just really big, I think. I think I can't see him. He's like really big. Alright, that's creepy. Maybe that's the game. It's just this big creepy guy and a bunch of tentacle arms coming out and grabbing you, but I don't think that's quite what I'm going for. Alright, so, but let's try the physics asset just for the sake of argument. And see what pops out. So here's my physics asset. Can you load it? Yep. Okay. Here's it. Okay. Well, you can't see shit because the guy's too big. But you know, one thing I did see was that you could set the import setting to 0.01. So let's see. You go skeletal mesh. And let's see, import setting, yeah, right, asset details, and then scale. Okay, right, so if you set this to 0.01, because it's all set to like 100, can you re-import the base mesh? Will you see something? Where's the character? Perspective, maybe, yeah, can I see? No, I still can't see anything, it's just completely fucked up. So, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what to do here. It's just Unreal Engine doesn't do what it's supposed to. You click this, it looks all fucked up. Doesn't even, like, what is this? So I would argue maybe I exported my mesh wrong. But then, okay, I mean, I would argue that changing the scale and all this shit is fucking it up. But let's back up a bit and try to get back to kind of like where we were with, you know, this guy over here. How's he looking? See, that doesn't even look right. What the fuck is with the... Yeah, I mean, I guess part of it is the scale settings over here. Jesus Christ, man. Now I can't see shit. What size is this guy even supposed to be? You know, I'm just gonna fucking... So then let's try a different solution. Because there's kind of these solutions too. I thought this was more in depth. Scale, mesh, scale, rig, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't seem to work like at all. But what about this stuff? Well, here's three options. Make the mesh and armature 100 times bigger in Blender. Export from Blender as usual. When importing to UE4, set the uniform scale to 0.01. This seems to solve the issue because the mesh gets scaled down to the correct size while the physics asset size is not affected by the import uniform scale setting, which is probably another bug. So, all right. I mean, what if... I mean, isn't kind of the problem that the mesh is parented to the rig, but doesn't it kind of need to be to generate the weights? Like if do we have animation on this one? Yeah, like if I remove this, actually, how do you unparent something? Isn't it like set parent to Alt-P? I mean, clear parent in general. So now, I mean, it still looks parented to the rig. So I don't know what you're talking about. Clear parent. Okay, now it's out of the rig. But now there's no animation because it's not parented to the rig. So that kind of defeats the whole point, doesn't it? Well, actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I've got my animation and I've got my rig. Okay, so I mean, I can't imagine this would work, but for the sake of arguments, for the sake of arguments, also I should note in this thing, exporting from Blender, right. It does say, just, you know, file export FBX, export, selected objects, I have that, leave scale at 1, set forward to Y forward, yeah, I've got that, Z up, mesh and armature only, smoothing, edge or face, disable add leaf bone, disable bake animation. Okay, so I've got all of that. So I just wanted to verify though that my settings were correct. Also, it does say one thing about, actually as in importing into Blender, you may notice that the parent object of the imported data is an empty that has a scale of 0.01. This is the epic scale workaround that I will discuss later. It hides the fact that its children are 100 times bigger than they should be. Well, I forget exactly where it is, but there is a note about setting the, where's the scene properties? There. Unit system and the unit scale. Right, all right. So we could set the unit scale to 1, and then, do they say metric anywhere? With the Blender scene, unit system is none or metric with a unit scale of 1. The units in the FBX will be meters. This is the default, which you generally will want to keep unless you're doing workaround number 3 below. All right, fine. So none or metric with a unit scale of 1. And you know what? I didn't have that before. Apparently I had the unit scale at 0.01. So I guess we could give that another try. And then also let's give this a try without the parent. But again, I just can't. I guess maybe that's related to the empty thing that it said, but okay, let's try it. So it was suggesting you make the rig 100 times bigger. Is that right? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and clear this animation just for the sake of argument here. Yep, fine. And then we're going to make the mesh 100 times bigger. All right, fine. Now we're going to apply Control A scale, and we're going to apply Control A scale. And then we're going to, I'm just going to go back to that guide that I had up. Apply scale to both, then scale the mesh and rig to 0.01. So now rig goes down to 0.01, which will kind of be the size it was before. But then, yeah, and then we're going to add this to 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. All right, and then apply scale to just the mesh. So the mesh, Control A, apply, scale. All right, so now that's 1, and the rig is 0.01, and they are the same size without being all screwed up by their parenting connection. And now I'm going to try the export to Unreal Engine again, and we'll see if our result comes out any different. Zombie animation for physics. Okay, for some reason, did I restart it or something? It's got different settings now, but we need the mesh and armature. Let's do custom properties. Scale is 1. Forward is going to be Y. Forward, Z up. Apply unit, apply transform, geometry, armature. Smoothing on faces, add leaf bones is enabled, disabled. Bake animation turned off, zombie animations for physics. Okay, right, you need to be in this folder over here. Yeah, export, good. epilepsy. Alright, import. Failed to merge bones, cancel. Don't import. Alright, actually, yeah, because I forgot to delete, and for some reason it thinks the skeleton is different, which it might be. Shouldn't be though. Alright, force delete. I'm going to go ahead and re-import fresh zombie animations for physics. It is a skeletal mesh. Yeah, why doesn't it detect that? Why is it being strange? I mean, it might be because it's not parented. Just maybe why you need the dummy node? Okay, alright. Figure this out. Yeah, 0001, blah, 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 blah. Okay, import, fine. And then what do you got? Okay, here's the mesh. Yep, there's your guy. Cool. Why don't you generate a physics asset? Can I do that here? No, it's just physics asset, create and assign. Thank you, good, great. Physics, okay, do we have a physics asset? Okay, well, once again, we have the same shit problem we had before. And if we were to shrink this down, alright, then look at the mesh bone, no, show weighted bones, and then a thigh, no, you got a leg. Does this thing have a fucking skeleton? See, you know, it didn't export with the weights. That's the problem. There's no bones on this skeleton. Shit. All right. Well. That complicates matters. So what did we learn? If you remove the mesh from the skeleton that is parented, shit gets all fucked up, which I guess is to be expected with how rigging works in Blender. So I don't know what these guides are talking about in terms of making this work right. Okay, there's something else it says about empties. Make the mesh and armature 100 times bigger in Blender, create an empty. Make the armature a child of the empty, scale the empty by 0.01, then the mesh and armature can be exported from Blender and imported into UE4 as usual. Why would you make the armature a child of the empty, though? Isn't that going to mess up the skeleton? Alright, well, I guess I'll try that one more time. Let's just go ahead and open recent zombie animation for physics. Don't save. Okay, we're back in our deal with the fucked up scale, so let's just return those to 1 and return that to 1. It already is, and then change the metric, which I remember was maybe not correct, but it might be correct. Geometric should be 1. Okay. So now do we have our little dude over here somewhere? Yeah, here's our guy. And yeah, I mean, what the fuck? So I guess one of the things that I seem to be understanding is we want the, okay, here's one that just says make them, I mean, if I increase the scale of just the rig 100 times, but see, I think as a child, isn't it getting the same scaling from this? But it doesn't necessarily seem to think so, supposedly. So I guess we could try exporting with those settings. Export FBX, yep, selected objects, mesh armature, Y forward, Z up, apply, yeah, okay, geometry, we're gonna do faces, armature, add leaf bones, or do not add leaf bones, and actually, well, here. I'm gonna export that just to save the settings, but I actually want to clear all the animation first, so because I want the T-pose when it generates the. Click here, click there. Yeah, what do we have? We have the rig is 100x, and the mesh is 1x, and if we export them both, we have zombie animation for physics, right? Let's do that. Open Unreal Engine. Don't import quite yet because I want to delete these three, and I need to restart Unreal Engine real quick. Re-import this one for physics. Yeah, okay, don't do that. Fine, go ahead. Okay, here's my physics. No, here's my guy. But he looks, yeah, right. I'm gonna delete these one more time. I'm gonna go import, and I'm gonna make sure my scale is set to 0.01. Supposedly that'll help. And I'm gonna make sure that no skeleton's created, so makes a new one. Alright, fine, do this. Okay, do you have the guy? Alright, fine, he looks about the right size, that's great. Skeleton, yeah, okay, fine. Okay, once again we have a dude with, yeah, alright, well, can we scale that down, I guess? But then if we go and say weighted bones thigh, add to the thigh, go ahead and add a shape, add a capsule. Okay, once again the capsule is too big. Why is it so big? I think it's because the scale is not set properly. It doesn't understand how big these bones are supposed to be. Something's not lining up, but alright, fine. I think it's just a weird symptom, maybe. Try to position this kinda. Okay, so what happens now? Is this connected at all? No, it's not. Why not? Okay. Can we get it to auto-generate a little better? No, don't do that. Yeah, right. I'm going to generate the physics asset. So, create physics asset, create and assign. Great. Let's try making the minimum bone size, I don't know, 2 instead. See if that creates a better. Okay, look, at least we have better capsules. But again, I think my whole skeleton, my whole armature, my whole mesh is too small, and when we hit go, we end up again with the same problem where it just cannot figure out how these bones are connected and how to bounce them off each other. And I will also say, I mean, I've already tried manually editing these quite a bit, but it just seems to be like there's a weird disconnection that results in behavior that you don't want. I mean, clearly, like it looks okay here, but as soon as I hit simulate, it separates. So how do I connect this bone right here to this bone so that it doesn't fly off his head? You know, I guess that's a valid question. I mean, and if you delete some of these bones, it certainly doesn't improve the situation. I mean, what's this one supposed to be even? What is that? Is that the spine? Yeah, spinal one. I mean, if I delete that, I mean, yeah, it's like his head is not properly attached. So I delete that. Oh, well, I mean, there's at least different behavior. His head doesn't seem to be dropping. Well, all right. So can I get his neck working? Shit. Can I bring the head up? No, of course not. See, so why does it snap down like that? Why immediately? What, because there's nothing underneath it? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Like, how is this all supposed to even interact? I mean, does there need to be something on the head? Do we have a head? Head. Animation, show weighted bones. You got a head bone? Spine, hand, neck, head. Nothing. How about in my all bones? You got a head? Okay, here's a head. Here's a rotator. Here's a head. If I add a bone to that, add a shape, add a capsule. Where is it? Oh yeah, right, because it's a huge bone, because the scale doesn't seem to work properly. But for sure, let's shrink it way down to the smallest it can be. And then if we hit simulate, what happens? Nothing. I mean, it just... So where is it not seeing the weights on some of these bones? I mean... So, yeah, that it seems to be impossible to take a Rigify rig, export it from Blender, and import it into Unreal Engine. And if anybody can prove me wrong, I would be extremely grateful, because I cannot seem to solve this issue. And at this point, I've already made a bunch of animations for this character, so I would like to preserve the skeleton that I already rigged and not start from scratch for all of this just to get ragdoll physics. But I'm running out of ideas, and I would like to get something just basic that works, which of course requires going back to the basics. So maybe I'm a little thick in the weeds right now and I'm missing something, but yeah, that's what I got. And I don't know, I hope if this video isn't helpful to somebody, I hope some of the comments might be. So yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far.